you, Jessica. Well, you know, I have to put my glasses on. But before I do that, I am delighted. It's my pleasure to ask all of you to publicly join in and say, Lisa, thank you so much. I do not have your sense of humor. I will not be able to ad-lib and wisecrack the way she has this past year, and I wish I would be able to do that. But Linda, could you come over? And Lisa, we have a very small token of appreciation from the league for you. And on behalf of the outgoing board of directors, we have made, I think, a very nice gift to the endowment fund. So thank you so much. Stanley, would you like to give your bride something as well? All right, now, for those of you who have your heads looking down into your lap, I can only assume you're praying for me. I wouldn't even think you're replying to a text message, or because I've just received one before I come up to the podium. So, again, thank you for your prayers. As I sit here tonight, I think back to, I think it was 2006, and I had just moved here. And Sharon Raleigh called and invited me to the annual dinner. She said, it's a great way to meet people. We'll have a table for all the sustainer transfers because you don't know anyone yet. She said, you'll hear what all the actives are doing and maybe you'll want to get involved. Sharon, it worked. So here I am 6 years later, a sustainer from Philadelphia who came to Sarasota and fell in love. So I look out tonight at all of the tables here. And I think, what happens when you're with people you care about? You want to tell a story. I always remember things because of who I was with and how I felt, not what was necessarily said. So tonight I'm going to tell you 3 quick stories, and I think they define the Junior League for me, and I hope you can relate to these as well. My first story took place when I was about 15. I went to an all-Catholic girls' school. Sister sent us home with an English assignment. We had to write an essay on volunteerism. Now, this is way before the internet. So, before I went to the library, I did my version of a Google search. I asked my mother. My mother told me what it meant to be a volunteer. She explained to me what she did as a stay-at-home mom as a volunteer. She told me what I did as a candy striper was a volunteer. But curiously, she mentioned to me at that time the Junior League. And it was the first time I became familiar with the league, and my mother referred to them as the gold standard. And it stayed with me until this day. Nice to be compared to the gold standard. My second story took place years later. I was in the Junior League. I was in Philadelphia having a great time, and I was on a cookbook committee. So those of you in the audience who can relate to that, I pulled the short straw at a meeting and was told I had to speak and sell cookbooks and get recipes at one of our general membership meetings. It was at our thrift shop. So I got there a little late because I didn't want to stay for the whole meeting. You can understand that. And when I got there, there was no place to park. So what was I going to do? We didn't have attachments then because we didn't have email. I had boxes of forms to sell cookbooks, to get recipes. I had to carry all this stuff in. So you know what I did. I took the handicap spot. And you also know what happened next. Yes, I came out of the meeting, and yes, I had a parking ticket on my windshield. So the next day when I wrote my check, I was so irritated, I had to get it off my chest. So I sent a letter with my parking ticket explaining that I was a volunteer with the Junior League and what I was doing at our thrift shop and what we were doing as an organization. I felt better just having gotten it off my chest. So, imagine my surprise when I got a letter a few weeks later from a judge in Montgomery County, Pennsylvania. The judge wrote to say he had read my letter, and he was very, very familiar with the work of the Junior League, and he esteemed what volunteers did for the organization, and he recognized the impact on the community. And I'll never forget, he wrote, "While I can't condone your behavior, I understand it." And so he dismissed my fine and returned my check. Now, I don't recommend doing that today, but can you imagine? Can you imagine? Now, my third story took place in 1996. Nothing significant about that, except it was the year I resigned from the Junior League. And I don't know if you think the leagues are flexible these days, but back in the 90s, you were in or you were out. And I found that I couldn't do it all, and I was out. So I knew I would come back when my life was a little calmer, but what I have up on the screen right now is something I received in 1996 for Mother's Day from my daughter. I won't read you the entire letter, but I found it a few months ago and I reread it, and one or two of her sentences just stood out to me and made me realize why I did what I did. She said, "I don't know how you do it. You work, you take care of the family, keep up with the house, and you volunteer as much as possible." Andrew, Eric, and I are all proud to have such a dedicated mom. So what do these three stories that I've just told you have anything to do with? Someone tells you about the Junior League being the gold standard. A judge dismisses a fine because he knows of the work of the league. And then finally, an impressionable teenager lets her mother know that she appreciates her volunteer work. Well, what I think is that the underlying theme here is that the Junior League is highly, highly respected, revered, and admired. We have 292 leagues in 4 different countries. So no matter what city you've been in, where you might be going, the league experience is consistent, it's high level, and it's highly admired. So my theme for the upcoming year is going to be our mission is our message. It's as simple as that, and it's as complicated as that, because in every city, no matter what your projects or programs, the mission remains the same. We do put trained volunteers back into the community. The community knows they can reach out to the league to get effective volunteers. I look at every table in this room and I see women who now are running the nonprofits here in Sarasota, or they're on the boards, and this is what we do. We effectively train volunteers. So I want to focus on that mission as we reach out to prospective members. I want to focus on our mission being our message within our own league, because I don't think sometimes we appreciate enough the reputation that we as a league have. Now, Lisa mentioned that I'm a big reader. And those of you who know me know I'm a voracious reader. And it just so happens that a few months ago, I was reading an essay in the Harvard Business School Review. It was written by Rosabeth Moss Cantor. Don't you guys just read the Harvard Business Review when you finish with Newsweek and Time? I thought so. You probably all read this. But in case you didn't, Rosabeth wrote an essay specifically geared toward nonprofits. And she said in these difficult times, it's a challenge economically, but it's a challenge to get manpower and how to engage and keep your volunteers. And often when people are recruiting for members, their mission isn't strong enough to get them in. So that's what connected this article to my thought of our mission being our message for our theme. And here's what Rosabeth Moss Cantor says, and I want each of you tonight to please think about this. She says to ask this fundamental question: so what if you weren't there? What if we weren't here? Well, some of us might say, oh, I won't have all those shift hours. I won't have all those committee meetings. I won't have all those reports. Well, that would be an easy, glib kind of a response. So what if we weren't here? I look at our community partners and I think they know they can reach out to us and ask for help when needed. I look at Spanish Point. I look at Teen Court, Spark, all the different organizations, Children First within our community. Again, every table I look at touches the community in some way. So what if we weren't here? Well, women from the League are affiliated with all of those organizations. Would they be as well and effectively run without the training of the Junior League? Perhaps, but I sincerely doubt it. So again, think of that when you leave tonight. So what if we weren't here? We'd all probably be able to do volunteer work for other organizations, but you know it wouldn't be as much fun. And I look at all the people in this room, and most of you, if not all of you, are my friends. And I think of all the fun I have had while doing Done in a Days, while doing shift hours, while talking about books at our book club, while just coming to these meetings and sitting at a table and introducing yourself to someone. It all reinforces the support system of our life. So, to conclude my remarks tonight, I want you to know that I consider myself, as your new president, a gal who I say I'm more phone book than Facebook. So I, this year, will be able to improve myself as a volunteer by becoming more tech savvy, shall we say. And I'm not starting at a very high level, so it won't be hard to improve. But that's the value of the Junior League, constantly improving and increasing our potential. So even at my age, and bombshell, I think I am the oldest president ever to take the reins of the Junior League of Sarasota. And I'm proud of that. But again, I think that I can improve as a person and a volunteer, and for that I'm most appreciative. So to conclude, I started my remarks telling you 3 stories. I'm going to end telling you that I have 3 secret weapons. The first secret weapon are our past presidents. I look to each and every one of you. And Dorothy, I told you when you came up to me and she said, the past presidents are incredible. You have all been so thoughtful to me. Your wisdom and guidance is priceless. And I hope I have to reach out to you for positive reasons, but no matter what, I know you're there. Our second secret weapon is Kathy Simmons. We come and we go. Kathy keeps that office running no matter who is in the president's chair, no matter who's in the committee seat, and I wouldn't even know how to begin. I remember calling Kathy once as a sustainer because I didn't even know how to send something as an attachment correctly, and Kathy talked me through it. So, Kathy, you're my second secret weapon. My third secret weapon is each and every one of you. Every person in this room. If I don't know you well yet, I will. That's the sheer beauty of it. We get to make connections, we make friends, we get incredible, incredible relationships just from this volunteer work. So each person in this room whether a league member or one of our community advisors, our sponsors, my dear family, our friends. You are my secret weapon. So go out, enjoy your summer. Since we're here by the bay, make a splash. And if there are no questions, I'd like to adjourn this meeting of the Junior League of Sarasota.